There has been a lot of debate over the last few years about how seriously people take storm warnings.
Yeah, there has been, Scott, and that has some experts looking at a new way to classify hurricanes, including our partners at AccuWeather.
We need better, more effective ways to communicate hurricane risks to the public and to businesses so that they can make better decisions.
The original Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale was introduced to the public in 1973. It has been used since to categorize hurricanes based on wind speed. But that scale does not tell the whole story when it comes to a storm's threats.
We know hurricanes can produce many other types of disasters, from flooding to a significant number of tornadoes like we saw with Hurricane Florence to storm surge.
For example, Hurricane Florence was a Category 1 at landfall based on its winds, but Florence caused much more damage than a typical Cat 1 due to its torrential rains, storm surge, and numerous tornadoes.
But when a storm like Florence was approaching the coast and it was weakening, we know that folks were maybe taking a sigh of relief, but in fact, we still knew that the dangerous flooding was going to occur. There was still going to be a dangerous, life-threatening storm surge, so we have to remain focused on the hazards.
Hurricane specialist Dan Brown says that the water produced by these storms is more dangerous than the wind, and the data backs him up.
Historically, it's water that's killing people. 9 out of 10 deaths in hurricanes are from water, not wind, and we really got to get people to really fear the water, I think.
Following Florence, there has been debate in the meteorological community on how the threats of a storm can be communicated more effectively, whether it be by a new scale for categorization or through impact-based forecasting.
People in inland North Carolina are beginning to see that it really doesn't matter what the category of the storm is.
AccuWeather has developed the real impact scale for hurricanes. It factors in wind speed, storm surge, flooding potential, and economic damage and loss. The company has tested its new scale with past storm data.
Hurricane Florence, as you know, came into North Carolina, made landfall in your area as a Category 1 storm on the Saffir-Simpson scale, but it would have been a Category 4 storm on AccuWeather's real impact scale for hurricanes.
AccuWeather's Jonathan Porter believes the public may have respected the risks of Florence had the new scale been in use at the time.
We think with that storm being rated a 4 on our impact scale, that would have promoted a higher level of awareness by people in terms of the risk level that was involved.
The National Weather Service office in Wilmington uses impact-based forecasting to communicate threats from hurricanes. Warning coordination meteorologist Steve Paff says the effectiveness of those messages will continue to grow.
I think we'll see an evolution of how information is conveyed. I mean, we always should be looking to improve what we do, and you know, the Saffir-Simpson scale is just one part that it's outlived its use.
Ultimately, we can learn from Florence that a number on a scale is not all you should pay attention to when a storm threatens.
We encourage people not to take the next storm lightly, regardless if it's a Category 1 or Category 5, because we saw what a Category 1 can do. It can cause catastrophic damage.
And, you know, Scott, a common thing that we heard from all the experts we talked to was even if, you know, a new scale does or doesn't get adopted, that they would like to keep the Saffir-Simpson scale in some sort of use just for the historical purposes.
Well, absolutely. People are used to seeing that for a long time, and they've only used the wind speeds to gauge that. But we heard from a lot of people said, good gracious, if I'd known the storm was going to be this bad with the flooding, then I would have left.
Right.
And I have to credit the National Weather Service all along, even when the storm was starting to weaken, they said there was going to be catastrophic flooding.
For sure, yep.
All right, thanks a lot, Justin.